Broadcasting live from sunny California, it's 10 Minutes in Tinseltown with Ms. Meliz, a.k.a. Melissa Reyes. And now, your host, Melissa Reyes.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on Tinseltown tonight. I'm Melissa Reyes, and tonight I have a very special guest. I'm so happy to be able to have her all to myself and to share her with you all. And her name is Anna Scheller. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this.
Oh, I'm so excited. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And Anna comes to us from, where are you located? Texas?
I'm on the Texas-Mexico border in Del Rio, Texas.
In Del Rio. Okay, awesome. Yeah, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, some of the things that people find interesting about me is that I am, besides being an entrepreneur, business owner, and all that stuff, I'm a black belt in the martial arts, obviously, and I'm also the mom of 7 kids.
Wow.
Yes. So I get a number of responses that way. No. Some people think I'm patient. What it is the kids helped me to learn to curb the tendency to want to kill people. No, not really. They're wonderful. They're great kids. And I've been married. My husband and I were trying to figure out, is it 33, 34, 35? So we've been married for quite some time.
Is that what happens after 30 years? You're like, how many years?
It all really seems like a dream. It is. It's really cool. We've had the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I can say after, I guess 34 years as we've been married, we've known each other 35. It's really rewarding to be able to come home and still call him my boyfriend.
Yeah, that's neat. I have that in common. I've been in a long relationship too. My husband and I have been married for 24 years. We've been together for 30, and I guess I've known him for 32 years. It's really neat. So, Anna, the main reason why you're here today is because you're talking about, and I've seen you do a lot of interviews, and you have a show yourself. We're talking about your new program that you have coming up. So we're going to be talking a lot about that tonight. So everybody who's come over to watch, to get some tips about black belt selling, will be finding out all about that and the correlation between your martial arts and your sales background. It's something that I'm personally interested in. And then, we'll find out just a little bit more about you and your family and your kids and the things that you love to do. So tell us about the program.
Well, the program actually got started as a result of my daughter and I starting to work together. My daughter was in sales, and when I got sales training, I said, "Oh my gosh, you just have to do this." And she said, Mom, I know how to sell. I'm the top producer in my company. I don't need any sales training. And I said, oh, okay, because I don't believe in being pushy. I don't believe in being salesy. So about, 3 months later, Stephanie, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much. You really need to do this. Mom.
I know what I'm doing.
Haven't we had this conversation before? So then about a year after I started my own journey into sales training, I invited my mentor, Eric Lofholm, to come and speak at our Chamber of Commerce banquet. And so I said, Stephanie, you can at least meet the guy. And she said, yeah. So we met him at the airport, and he opened her eyes to what she was doing that she needed to change so that she could change her life. And not just change her life, but he planted seeds in her to begin her own business. And she was not happy in her sales job, to be honest. And so it was very interesting. So that started the wheels turning. And then about 2 months later, I said, what's really important is that you share the knowledge you have. It helps ingrain the knowledge, and it also helps you to get better, and it helps other people. So we started a 15-minute conference call every Friday 12:30 noon Central Time. And we were telling Eric about it. We were so excited. We thought, wow, we're really doing something here. And he said, you guys ought to think about a radio show. You got to be kidding. So we looked into starting our own podcast. So I actually have 2 radio shows and a blab, as if I'm not doing enough. But but it started out with Blog Talk Radio. And when we were trying to come up with a name, a friend said, my gosh, you're both black belts. You should call it Black Belt Selling. And I said, that's really a good idea, because we were taking martial arts ideas, martial arts principles and philosophies, and we were applying them to training. So those were the seeds of it. And then and so we've actually been talking about writing a book. Well, I just launched, and I did a short book based on an interview I did with Eric. And I did a series.
Really good idea, by the way. I downloaded the book and I started looking at. I just think that was a really good idea to turn that interview into a book. Really
well, thank you. It's going to be a series, because I've got a number of fantastic interviews that we've done on Blog Talk Radio that we're still doing. So Blog Talk Radio, we're 19 months into doing this podcast. And so we've just taken things that we've learned from experts, and then we take them and we help folks with them. So I also have a really short series of videos that I've done about 7 principles of black belt selling. And I took those videos and I thought, that really could be a program. That could be something that could help people break through the challenges and the obstacles that they have on the inside. Because most of our sales challenges are not because we don't know what to do, or we don't know a sales process. It's that we tend to have some character traits we need to develop that will help us to become more consistent, that will help us to face our fears when it comes to sales, when it comes to closing or asking for the order or handling objections. And so I've actually turned that into my own 4-week webinar series. And with the series, then I also invite all the participants to get a 30-minute free coaching call with me to see how I can help them further.
Is it hard to selling, or is it like something everybody wants to learn?
Well, it's like everything, Melissa. I think I look for people who want to sell. So if I look for people who want to sell, then selling is not hard. It's not hard at all. If people tell me, oh, well, I don't do that, well, then they're not interested, and I don't pitch to them, because that's not something that's going to benefit them, and it's not going to benefit me. It always has to be a win-win. So it really isn't hard, because in my book, everybody's selling. I'm selling to my husband when I want him to go out and do the yard work. I'm selling to my children when I want them to cook dinner or clean up the dishes. Because sales is nothing more than a conversation about influence. That's all it is.
I love that you said that, because that is what I wrote on Facebook today. Aren't we all selling? And selling is a conversation. That's what you said. I'm going to write that down. The conversation.
About influence.
Yeah.
About influence. Because what are we all doing? We want to be able to have influence. We want to be able to help other people. So here's a great example. Let's say you see someone struggling, and you know there's a great way for them to come out of their challenge, and you have the solution. And so you approach them, and what are you trying to do? You're trying to help them. You're not trying to harm them. You're wanting to help them. So the challenge becomes, how do I get somebody who's got a problem and teach them the solution that will help them solve their problem? And I have to do it in such a way that they can see and begin to enjoy the benefits of the solution because sometimes people have problems, but they don't understand how the solution is going to help them. So that's what sales really is. It's finding people with a problem and helping them find a solution.
So how did you get into all of this?
Well, my husband and I started the American Dream. We were both, my husband was in military. We decided that we wanted to go into real estate investing. So what started as buying a few houses here and there for rental real estate turned into a corporate housing business, which requires sales skills. And 9 years into this little adventure, I realized that not only was I not making money, but I was working like a slave, not getting paid anything at all, and actually we were losing money. And
9 years
I was challenged. 9 years. Well, I guess we were holding, but after 9 years, and you spend 10 to 12 to 14 hours a day working, sometimes weekends, 10 to 12 hours on the weekend as well. It gets old really fast, not getting paid.
Yeah.
So someone suggested that I study sales, and I'd never thought about it. I thought, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a landlord. And so I got the book by Brian Tracy, The Psychology of Selling, and I learned that sales was a learnable skill. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. I can learn how to sell. I can learn how to persuade people. I can learn how to answer objections, which was my greatest fear. What do you do when people say it's too expensive? What do you do when they say, I'm not interested? I have to talk to my wife. I have to talk to my husband. I have to talk to my dog. I have to, all.
I have it.
Do I tell you? So that's how I got started. My husband recommended that I go to a free training with Eric, and it sounded good, and I was hungry, and I was just ready to move forward. And so I did. I just did, and grew my business 50%.
Really? Wow. I was going to say, how soon did you see results?
Within a year. Within a year, 50%.
That's terrific. That's great. So what's the timeline on that? When did you start doing that to the point where you were at, where you mentioned before, where you started with your daughter, asking her to get involved with you and starting the radio show?
It was about a year. Actually the second show I just started about 3 or 4 months ago, but it was about a year and couple of months when we started working together. And we've actually been working together ever since. We do a live training together in San Antonio every other month.
Oh, really?
As well.
That's so amazing.
Yes.
So when I see somebody start something and it grows to something else, and then they keep doing it and it's successful, that, you may not realize what golden touch that is. It really is. It takes someone special to do that.
Thank you.
It's true. What attracted you to Eric, and that, how did you come to know him? Is he the one who taught you you went to a class or something?
Well, it was kind of a class. My husband and I have been involved with Peak Potentials for quite a few years. It's called New Peaks now, but the Harv Eker. And somehow my husband got on Eric's email list. And my husband's not into sales. As a matter of fact, he repeatedly tells me how he's not into sales. But he knew I was studying sales. And I guess I must have been talking to him about learning how to handle objections, which was still new to me, still kind of scary, but exciting, because now I could feel that I had some power in a conversation, which I didn't have before. So one day he sends me this link and he says, honey, I think you might be interested in it. It was from Eric. It was a free conference call on none other than objection handling. Yeah. So I thought, it was normally on one of my Taekwondo nights, and I'm very dedicated to Taekwondo. I teach it now. I am actually preparing to test as a master in about 3 years. And it takes quite a bit of preparation. So I'm practicing even now for a test 3 years down the road. So I'm a very dedicated student, but this was so important that I decided I was going to stay home that night and listen to this recording. Or not recording, it was a live call. My intention was to buy nothing because I figured that good sales training, really good sales training, was going to cost an arm and a leg. And I didn't have an arm and a leg to spend. I only got on there because, well, I knew he would do an offer, but I also knew he would give great information. So I was planning to take the money and run, so to speak. So Eric begins by sharing that he's going to make an offer for us to join him in a mentoring program for as little as $50 a month. And at first I'm like, yeah, probably $50 a month until I have great grandchildren.
Yeah, $50 a month. That's a big.
It was, and I'm thinking, oh, this can't be real. But then he shared his story, how he was in telemarketing and he went from worst to first in a matter of 60 days with the information he would be sharing with us. Well, of course, that perked me because I'm like, well, I feel like I'm the worst in my company. Of course, I was the only one doing sales in my company. So, I could go either way, right?
Right. That's funny.
But I really listened. And he said, the same things that I'm teaching you are the things that I learned that helped me go from worst to first in 60 days. So I thought, what the heck? If I can't take this information, which seemed reasonable and logical and made a lot of sense to me, if I couldn't take this and earn an additional $50 a month, and at that time it was for 8 months.
To pay for that, right?
Then truly I wasn't born to be a salesman, and it was going to only be $400. And even though I really couldn't see how to make $400 work at that point, I decided to take a leap of faith and join the program. Well, then after that, I learned about scripting and I learned about how to accelerate your sales. And then I started teaching this organically to other people. People were coming to me and go, wow, I'm having trouble doing this. Can you help me? And I was telling Eric about this, and he said, Anna, you're a natural trainer. You really need to think about sharing your knowledge and getting paid for it.
You're also intuitive, because I was just going to ask you that. I was going to ask what inspired you to start teaching, because you seem to be telling me, you're teaching Taekwondo, you're teaching, these courses, and, I'm meeting you at a time when you're already there, but how did you come to that? And you answered by telling me that he saw that in you, because people were naturally in you. And I feel I totally get that, because when I saw you on Blab the first time, and every time I've connected with you, you have such a giving spirit. You have, you connect on a level that feels, for lack of another word that comes to mind, but authentic, which, is a good word. Authenticity, it's a good thing. It means you're a real person and you really care. It's not a bad word. So, but everybody's like, oh, it's overused. So, maybe that's because we care about that. You're a caring person. Tell me, how long have you been doing the Taekwondo, and what made you start doing that?
Well, my Taekwondo career came out of tragedy, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Are you willing to share? You're willing to share it?
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
One of my children had become the victim of a crime. And so we had been told about this Taekwondo school in town, and it was a Christian school, and I kind of thought, I try to do that. Don't even go there. But they were running a summer camp, and we were taking care of my kids had some friends over, and they're like, oh, no, you have to take us to this camp tomorrow morning. And I said, okay. And then it looked like a lot of fun. The kids were doing all these games, and it was great. And so I said, well, can I enroll my children? And they said, oh, yeah, sure, come on in. And so my kids started to participate, and just were having a really good time and had a lot of fun. And so I approached the owner of the school, who happened to be the pastor of a church here in town, and I said, so what does it take? What do you guys do? I wanted to understand a little bit more before I enrolled my children. even though my kids were having a fabulous time.
Mhm,
And,
mhm.
you know, I felt comfortable with the way they integrated Christianity and Taekwondo. So we
Yeah,
went ahead and
that's
enrolled the kids because, one, we saw this as an opportunity to build confidence in the child who had been victimized.
mhm.
And then I'm taking the kids, and of course, we're like everybody else. Before I jumped out of the blab earlier, I heard you mention to somebody how when your kids are in Taekwondo, you see a lot of Taekwondo or karate.
Mhm. You watch,
So I
yeah.
was, well, you
You
do. And
watch
so
them and you learn a little.
you do. You
Mhm.
do. And so I went up to the instructor because I saw there were some parents on the floor, and I said, so can parents join? And he said, absolutely. And the way the school pricing was structured, it didn't cost me anything else to join. So we were under when you have like 5 kids in Taekwondo, you know, I guess I got the big SeaWorld discount or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, so I said, sure, I'll do it. And this is a great way to connect with my kids, and we'll have a great deal of fun, and we'll just enjoy ourselves. So that's how I got started 9 years ago. Had no intention of getting a black belt, none whatsoever. Did not think I was black belt material. There was no way I was going to hit people, which I had to learn how to do. No way I was going to kick someone, which I had to learn how to do. And I definitely wasn't rolling on the ground, which I had to learn how to do. So we had the first black belt test come up, and I'm thinking, I'm an old person. I was in my 40s at the time. I can't kick as high, I can't jump as high, I can't run as fast. You know, I was thinking, I'll just wait till the next black belt test. And I was probably within a couple of ranks of being ready for black. And my instructor said, so how long have you been doing this? And he's figuring all these numbers out, and he goes, I'd like to invite you to black belt testing. And
Wow.
I was excited and I was scared all at the same time. And I'll be honest with you, black belt selling, the seeds of black belt selling came out of that very first black belt training that I went through, because I underwent a huge transformation, not only as a martial artist, but as a person.
When your sensei says you're ready to go to the next level, it's a huge thing. It is a huge honor.
It
And
is.
so, you know, bringing that back to your point is, and then that he said that, and you had maybe it, you know, based on your time and your experience, had, you know, you maybe could have gone through a few more levels, but you were ready. And
Right.
and I think that's a big realization that we need to make as, you know, say we are, like we made the point earlier about everybody's a salesperson, really, because it's about influence and having conversations to get things going and finding a solution. And so I think that that's an important point in saying that, you know, if somebody empowers you that you're ready, it makes a big difference than just saying, this is what I want. So, and the same thing, like with your daughter, you said to her, you know, what, here's this great thing, we should do it. And she wasn't ready, but then, you know, that there's that breaking point. So what happened next? You went out for the test for black belt?
I did. So we had 4 months of training, and at first I didn't think I would make it, to be honest. I thought I would wash out pretty fast. Again, I was a stay-at-home. Well, I was part-time business, staying home with my kids. You know, when you're living an adult life, who makes time to practice martial arts? And I had been somewhat athletic as a child, but I'd always struggled with a weight issue. And so I really didn't see myself as athletic. I didn't see myself as skilled in martial arts. I was doing it to be with my kids.
Right.
I was doing it to hang out with my children. And so the biggest challenge, my initial biggest challenge, was to begin to realize that I I couldn't quit. I had to see this thing through.
Yeah, the example.
And there were days so hard. There were days I didn't want to go into my 85-degree garage and work out. There were days that I would show up to class and I'd had a really trying day with my business or something happening. And I had to put all that aside. I had to clear my head and I had to focus on the task at hand. And that's one of the things that I teach people in the Black Belt Selling Program is how do you eliminate the distractions and how do you focus on what's important to get done in your business. And what I discovered, so here's a spoiler for those of you that are thinking about joining my program. Spoiler alert. But the way you do it is to take one thing, do what you can in the moment, but commit to doing it. So, for example, I'll use a Taekwondo illustration and a sales illustration if that's okay.
Sure,
Melissa.
absolutely.
So Taekwondo, one of the most difficult kicks to master in Taekwondo is the sidekick.
Yes.
Bruce Lee makes it look easy. It is one of the toughest kicks because the mechanics have to be just right. It's too easy to get the direction wrong. It's too easy not to angle your foot correctly. It's too easy to aim too low. When you're sparring, we have to have it above the belt because we want all the students to walk out without, compromising their progeny, those kinds of things. So that was probably one of the toughest. I couldn't move the bag. So we would work against a bag. I could not, with my sidekick, I couldn't move the bag. And my instructor would sit there and go, Anna, you're pushing. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for telling me that. And I would kick again, and he'd say, you're still pushing. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll try again. But what I learned to do is I just learned to work with, if I couldn't get the height, which you get eventually, you work on the form, you work on the direction initially, and you just take it a little at a time. And if you will do that, you will begin to see progress actually rather quickly. People think it will take forever, but if you will dedicate yourself to practice, then it happens. And see, the same thing happens in sales and business. A lot of people, they don't want to talk to strangers. And, I get that feeling myself sometimes. And I'm a sales trainer. I am a business owner. My life depends on sales. It depends on it. If I'm not talking to people on a regular basis about my business, there's no business. Right. So what you do then, if somebody's afraid to talk to people, you find what they're willing to do. And you help them develop that. And then you take them one more step beyond and help them develop that. And so maybe they're not comfortable. Maybe they're not comfortable with public speaking, which, by the way, is a fantastic lead generation tool. This Blab is an amazing lead generation tool. And we haven't even begun to see the power of live streaming yet. But let's say they're afraid of public speaking. Well, but they're willing to go to a networking event. But they're a little shy about walking up to people and just handing cards to people. So they go up to the MC of the networking event and they say, what are you going to do with all those cards that are in the fishbowl? He goes, I'm just going to dump them. Can I have them?
Wow, that's a great
And then
idea.
you take the cards. That could be right there, that one event, that's an hour, 20, 30 leads.
Yeah.
Now, they may not all be qualified leads, but that doesn't matter. You qualify them as you go. So, and you get people to do things consistently, they'll get better.
Yeah, no, that's a really great idea because, and I understand that it's just an example, but if you were really shy and you did that and you contacted all those people, all you have to do is say, I was at that same event. That's your lead in. That's really great. How I got over the networking fear of feeling like I would waste an event. I would go to a conference or something and then I'd come back saying, I should have talked to that person and I didn't. The way I got over that was I made a bingo card of all the people that I wanted to speak to and meet. And I And when I met them, I asked them to sign their square. And so I left an impression, and I challenged myself to fill the card in the weekend at the conference. And then now I just go in blazing who I want to meet and go right up to them and tell them I'm here to meet you. But I was so nervous. I needed that. It was like my in. And so, now it's like an icebreaker place. People have used it. Right. But I love that fishbowl thing. That's really neat. And so what was, you have so many wonderful examples. How can people connect with you to be involved in the course? And how is the course going to be, or the program going to be played out? And it's online? Is it a webinar? Tell me about it.
But a little bit more about the program. It is a 4-week webinar series. There's actually sheets that I give to people to work on that take the concepts that we're talking about and help them to begin to integrate them into their routine and into their lives. Because I don't believe that any education is worth anything if it's sitting on paper or sitting inside your computer. So we start by setting a clear intention for what people want out of the course. Because I believe you have to have a focus so that you have, it acts like a magnet to draw the information to you that you need for the goals you are setting for yourself at that time. So we start with a clear intention, and then we go through 7 traits that are essential for mastering sales. Because when people think of black belts, they think of mastery. So things like an indomitable spirit. And I wrote a blog post today on LinkedIn. I'll put that in the chat for those who might be interested. LinkedIn. And it talks about the 5 reasons people quit. The indomitable spirit is that you allow nothing to beat you. That doesn't mean that you plow through customers. It means that whatever challenges come your way, you keep going. You stay with it. You press through it. And recently someone actually said to me, they were talking about somebody in my family, and I go, what? That person was talking about quitting? And I was actually my instructor, and he looked at me and goes, Anna, that's not in your vocabulary, is it? 4 letters. So I want to help people develop that, because sales or business or anything you want to do that requires excellence, requires that you work through situations where you didn't think you had it in you. It requires that you stick with it and you learn a new skills to rise up to the challenge. Jim Rohn says that don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. That's great. And so that's what I want to help people do. So we talk about the indomitable spirit. We talk about how to develop consistency in your business and in your sales. And we talk about perseverance. We talk about a really important topic called visualization. How the power of visualization. And again, spoiler alert, I talk about Michael Phelps. Some people don't know that Michael Phelps, when he set the world record, I think it was for butterfly, he went blind in the water.
Oh, wow. No, I did not know that.
His glasses the water filled up in his glasses, and he couldn't see where he was going. He still when he touched the pad, he had shaved 0.7 of a second off his very own record to create a new world record. And the way he did that is every time when he was practicing, before he would step into the water, he would visualize the perfect swim. He felt the water in his mind. He saw himself swimming it perfectly. So when the glasses filled up, it wasn't a big deal to him.
He could see it in his mind's eye. Yeah.
He could see it in his mind's eye. So we talk about all those things, and then we go through exercises to help people integrate those things into their life.
So what's the time commitment for those to complete your program for somebody who signs up? Is it daily, weekly, whenever, at their own speed? How does it work?
It's a once a week program for 4 weeks. It runs for approximately 45 minutes on Tuesdays. That's the live. And if you can't make the live, then I send out the replay the following day. So you actually, if you're there live, you can watch it again, or if not, you can go through it at your own pace. And then when I send out the replay, then I also send out the sheets, the study sheets.
Well, that sounds really, really great, because just listening to you for the last 45 minutes, it's I've learned so much, and that was just kind of skipping around and talking generally. And I think that everybody should take this class and your program. And it's black belt selling.
It's black belt selling coaching program.
Black belt selling coaching program.
And, you know what? The book is Black Belt Selling Closing with
That's
Confidence.
it. The book, Closing with Confidence. Yeah.
Yes, that's the book I wrote.
Okay. All right. That's what I'm thinking of. So I want everybody to do both. So if you, can you want to tell us about your special offer? So.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to give one person a free seat on the course if they'll sign up for my newsletter between now and the 2nd of, or no, the
29th. But
the 29th of April. That's right.
Okay,
Yes,
so like 10 days.
I'm getting a little
That's
lost.
okay. 10 days. It's on my website.
So,
if you go to msmeliz.com, there's a link there, and it'll take you straight to your sign-up sheet. All you have to do is push on the picture of you. I think it's a beautiful picture of you, and then it goes straight to your sign-up sheet, and so then you can be on the newsletter, which will be awesome, and you have a chance to get this program for free. So, there's nothing to lose there. So that sounds like a really good deal. I'm gonna put
exactly, and plus everybody who signs up for my program will get a free copy of my book. You'll get a book for free, as well as a 30-minute coaching session with me. That's all part of the process.
That's terrific.
And
that's terrific. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what motivates you. What, besides your 7 children and your sales livelihood and all of that, and your incredible confidence and your ability to, to have a black belt and to be a master and all these things that you do. What is at the core of what you want in life? What's your core desire? What's your core value? And what motivates you? What makes Anna tick?
well, I'm a believer in Jesus. And so everything I do is to bring glory to him. Everything I do is to serve him. And I don't always do it well. I don't always do it as perfectly as I would like. But ultimately, when I stand before the Lord, I want him to say, well done, good and faithful servant. And I want to drag a whole bunch of people with me.
I want to get tears in
and
my
I just
eyes.
want to be
That's
Jesus in the
beautiful.
world.
That's beautiful. I'll take a moment. That's beautiful. Isn't she beautiful, everybody? Oh my God. I just, you know what? I have to say, this is the type of superstar that I want in my Tinseltown. You shine a light that is so bright. You're a celebrity rock star in my world, and I'm so glad to know you and to have you here to share who you are. And I think that it just everything about you breaks down that normal. Like Barb says in the side chat here about how we don't normally think of someone like you or me that are doing martial arts. You're thinking about a stereotype. I'm not, it doesn't even mean male or female, but it's so like Bruce Lee, or so like, Charlie's
Chuck
Angels,
Norris.
like a weird, but it's not. It's here. Anybody can do that. But when you do it well and apply yourself, and when you have a purpose and a passion and it's about helping others, and by serving the Lord or serving outside of yourself. That's what really makes a difference in this world. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you.
Oh, you're
A
welcome.
little doggy too.
And my dog.
What's his name? Her name.
Her name is Rue.
Rue.
From Kanga and Rue. She used to jump. She doesn't jump anymore. She's too old.
Wow. What a doll. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions for me or anything else that you would like to touch on before we say goodnight?
Well, it would be fun. We'll have to talk about mandalas another time, because that is a powerful and a fascinating topic, especially in a world where we are just everything's in blocks and everything's in lines, and we live in a world that values hard work, achievement, getting things done. And somebody actually introduced me to the mandala, and I remember one day just coloring and coloring and coloring and coloring, and I thought, oh wow, this is like way too much fun. And it seemed to be unproductive, but it was very calming. So we'll have to do something like that.
You're
Melissa.
right. It does. And people who haven't tried it maybe don't understand why you would spend so much time, but there is so much to it. I think it's a matter of starting something colorful and completing it, and during that time, it's relaxing, and you can open your mind up to many ideas and thoughts. I think a lot of people might be able to get that same thing if they take a walk, a morning walk or a hike, which, that's a nice way to open your mind and to think things and notice nature and stuff. But you could take a walk right there on a piece of paper and then you have something beautiful. Exactly. And so there's a lot of interpretation involved. I cleaned my desk and I can't find anything, but I wanted to show you some of mine, but I'll have to share with you on Instagram or Pinterest. So, but yeah, we just have a lot of little things in common, and blab too, and the love of social media and meeting people. And so it's pretty neat. I really appreciate getting a chance to have you all to myself here. Just thank you so much, Anna, for being here. Thank you for sharing your story with us and for inspiring us to really to go that next level, to be a master, to be confident, to learn more, and to share with the world. And you're doing all of that. Thank you so much for your inspiration.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. Well, you are such a superstar. So I am going to say, I'm going to turn on the music here and close it out. So you got to dance a little bit. You and your little doggy, Rue. Thank you so much for coming to Tinseltown tonight. It's been such a pleasure to talk to Anna Jo Scheller and about black belt selling. So thank you again for being here. We'll see you next Tuesday night. Oh my gosh, next Tuesday I've got Kim Summers, and we're going to be talking about confidence. And during the day, we'll be talking to Rachel from Snapchat. She's really awesome, and she's going to be talking the Snapchat mentor from England. So I have a special time to meet with her at 1 o'clock. So next week it's a 2-for-1 double header. You have to join me then. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Good night, Yana. Good night, everyone.
Good night.